This fan's theory about the hamadaverse and the Snyderverse is gonna blow you away.
Hey, release the Ayer Cut. You know it's a good idea.
My name is Tflame.
Welcome back to Strong Arm Flix. I'm your boy Tflame, and this fan theory is wild. He goes by the name John Venz, and this guy's done some massive research to get this shit together. So please take the time to listen and bear with me through this. All right, let's jump into it. He says, okay, so Barry is going back in time to save his mom, but he is going to end up creating a separate branch timeline that is the same as the Snyderverse, but with a rewritten history, so a lot of things have changed and are very different. This is the hamadaverse DCEU. This is kind of long, but if you could read it all the way through, I promise you, I will spare you from some emotional pain, because I'm telling you, I think this is 100% foolproof, and I got receipts for it. Okay, so in this branch timeline, the ending of Man of Steel was changed, and BVS never ended up happening, and a few other things were changed too. So for example, Zod and PanDora lived and Robin never died because of the recent confirmation of Robin being in Supergirl. So Batfleck never went on the dark path that led him down the dark path in BVS. Superman never died in BVS. Superman never died, and Wonder Woman 84 and Aquaman 1 are presumably to exist here in this new universe because of Mira's American accent that is different from her British accent in the Snyderverse. So the other Barry in the trailer is the Barry from the rewritten history version of the DCEU. And in the movie, he'll meet Snyderverse Barry, who is stuck there after creating it, and they get to talking, and hamadaverse Barry tells Snyderverse Barry all about the world they live in and everything. In this world, there is a version of Batfleck in this timeline who will die and be replaced by Keaton. For whatever reason, we don't know. Barry and other Barry end up in Keaton's timeline at some point during the movie, and they meet Sasha Calle, Supergirl, there, and they bring both of them back to the new Barry's timeline. I'm just speculating here. Reverse Flash probably shows up and is probably from Keaton's timeline and ends up destroying his own timeline. And from the looks of it, judging from the fact that Supergirl was locked up, Keaton's Batman world is presumably a dystopian police state, and at some point, it may have went to chaos like Reverse Flash's world in the comics. And when they bring them back eventually, at some point in the movie, Batfleck dies and Keaton replaces him. Whether Sasha Calle, Supergirl, has Henry as her Superman at the end of this or not, and whether he gets erased or killed as Superman in that universe still remains to be seen. But the Superman in this universe is Henry Cavill, at least up to this point, and it could still be him in the future, but there is a possibility he will ask to be erased or replaced, but I think he'll stay playing on both sides personally. Anyway, we know it's him because there is Henry Cavill Superman toys in Shazam, and he has the same suit and physique as the Headless Superman who appeared in the movies. But little did we know, Shazam took place in this different timeline all along. Here's how I know the recent DC movies have all been in this rewritten DCEU universe all along. In this timeline, Wonder Woman 84 exists, Aquaman 1 exists, Shazam exists, Birds of Prey exists, the Suicide Squad exists, Peacemaker exists, Black Adam, Batgirl exists, and Aquaman 2. In Aquaman 1, Arthur makes a comment about how he just got done fighting Steppenwolf. He did, but it wasn't in Zack Snyder's Justice League. It was either Justice League or just a different version of the fight and situation entirely. But we do know that these versions of the characters did meet up, so we know a Justice League team was already established, but without Cyborg. So Steppenwolf wasn't there to synchronize the unity. They can easily say in this universe that Cyborg never got in an accident and that those events never happened to him to write Ray Fisher out of the hamadaverse. Whether it was Justice League, which would create a ton of plot holes, or a different version of the fight, I'm sure they'll have at least a brief demonstration of it in the movie about how all these characters met up before Aquaman 1. Anyway, in this universe, Cavill's Superman never died because in Shazam he was wearing the blue suit, so he didn't need healing, and because he didn't die, the mother boxes were never activated. So when we see him in the movie, that guy who said he worked with Cavill and Affleck on the set of The Flash was not lying, and Grace was only fed what WB wants to feed her, so she's been kept in the dark a little bit. She said a long while back that Wonder Woman 84 was the start of a reboot. She was not wrong, she just wasn't given the full picture. Wonder Woman 84 does exist in this new DCEU timeline, so she never gave up on humanity and kept operating as a vigilante type hero, but she probably destroyed the cameras just because she didn't want to be seen, not because any other reason. In Birds of Prey, it says the Batman is missing, and in that movie, Joker broke up with Harley, but that doesn't contradict the ending of David Ayer's Suicide Squad, aka the Ayer Cut, was going to be which Harley and Joker mutually leaving each other. So this does allow the Ayer Cut to exist in Snyder's world, because in David Ayer's Suicide Squad, it's changed in the movie that Harley wasn't an accomplice in killing Robin and that it was all Joker. As we know, in this new timeline, Robin is alive and not dead, so Suicide Squad 2016, or aka David Ayer's Suicide Squad, never happened. But anyway, in that movie, Birds of Prey, it says Batman is missing, and that makes sense because in the Flash movie, Batfleck either disappears or dies, and Keaton replaces him and plays a Batman Beyond type role to Barbara behind the scenes while she takes on the mantle of Batman in the Batman duties. And her and the Birds of Prey will eventually meet. So that confirms Birds of Prey exists in this new universe. The Suicide Squad also exists in this universe. The proof is in Rick Flag. He is a completely different person than he was in David Ayer's Suicide Squad because that version exists in the Snyderverse. This version of Rick Flag is in the new DCEU. Also in Birds of Prey, it was established that her and Boomer have had a long friendship, and her smiling at the Captain Boomerang missing in action poster. In the Suicide Squad, he died, and so did Rick Flag, but they were not the same versions we've seen before in David Ayer's movie. Also, Olivia Harcourt in the Suicide Squad is supposed to be in Black Adam, and Black Adam also exists in this universe because he was already shown to exist in Shazam, who I have just shown also exists in this universe. So that confirms Black Adam and the Suicide Squad exist in this universe. Now, it has been said that there is a cameo of Wonder Woman in Shazam 2. There is, because this is the Wonder Woman 84 Patty Jenkins version of Wonder Woman that exists in this universe in the new DCEU. So I feel I cracked the code, and I'm honestly 100% sure this is happening, man. So Batfleck dies in the Walter Hamada DCEU, but he still exists in Zack's. Henry may or may not die in The Flash, but he does still exist in Zack's, which is why he said he would like to make a solo movie that takes place before Zack Snyder's Justice League 2, because that universe is still an option. So his place is still ensured. And that's why James Gunn, whose movie is in the new DCU, said he doesn't know if it was Cavill who Bloodsport shot. So we were all led astray, and this was a misdirection campaign by WB and DC all along, and it makes perfect sense. The VFX team for Zack Snyder's Justice League said their interest in DC films was reignited with The Flash, so they returned, and they weren't just saying that for no reason. At the end of this movie, Michael Keaton Batman helps Zack Snyder's Justice League Barry return to his universe, where the Snyderverse is intact. Remember the set pictures at the courthouse? They returned because they knew the movie leaves the door open for the Snyderverse to continue, and for all other DC universes to exist alongside this new mainline DCEU. When Annie Muschietti said that Christina Hodson wrote a great script and Ben returned because he liked the script, and Keaton agreed to do it because he liked the script, they weren't lying. This is a great script because it allows us to have the best of both worlds, while also allowing other universes in the multiverse to exist too, like the Batman universe. Holy shit, guys. That is a massive amount of research, time, energy, and passion that went into that. Kudos to this gentleman. And keep hope alive, guys. I think that this would be perfect. If this was the case, I would have absolutely no issues with Warner Brothers. You guys can have your Hamada burger, and we'll eat our Snyderverse burger, and that's fine with me. A little diversity Ain't nothing wrong with that. But personally, I think that this is giving Warner Brothers too much credit, because we all know that they haven't had a plan, period. They're just throwing shit at the wall and hoping it sticks. But who knows, guys? We won't know till this movie comes out. Please smash that like button. If you're new to the channel, please subscribe.